Oh yeah!
안녕하세요, 여러분. Jessica입니다. Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica, and welcome to K-pop Lyrics Decoded. We take the difficult Korean grammar and K-pop songs and break it down into smaller, more easy to understand little chunks. And today we're doing "Love Me Right" by EXO. Let's jump right in. The first sentence we have is 도로 위에 여긴 runway. Let's listen to that. And this sentence is basically 4 words, 3 Korean words, 1 English word. And the first word, the red one we have, is 도로, which means road or highway. And the next word, the orange one, 위에, is actually a word and a particle. The first word is 위, which means on or above something. So if I want to say above the table, it's table 위에. And then we have 에, the location marking particle. That lets us know that something is located there. This is located on this highway. 위에, 에. And then the third word we have, the green one, is 여긴. And that comes from 여기, which means here. But in this case, they're using it like this. But 여기 means here. And then 는, which is the topic marking particle. That topic marking particle lets us know what the topic of the sentence is. So, if I'm talking about myself, 저는. If I'm talking about here, 여기는. But this is a contraction. They're making it a little bit shorter. So instead of being 여기는, it's 여긴. So we have 도로, road or highway, 위에, on or above, and 여긴, which means here. And runway, of course. So literally translating, it would be here on top of this highway, runway. But this is a song, and we want it to sound a little more poetic than that. So on this highway, it's a runway. And you'll notice that there's no verb that says it's or any verb that means to be, but it's just implied here. Because we're mixing Korean and English, so they're literally saying on this highway in Korean and then runway in English. So the words it's a is just implied. Okay, everyone understand? The next sentence that we have is 날 바라보는 눈 속 Milky Way. Let's listen to that. And that is 5 words. 4 Korean words, 1 English word. Well, I guess it's 2 English words. Alright, and the first word, the red word, is 날. And that comes from 나, which means me, and 를, which is our object marking particle. It lets us know what's the object in the sentence. So since the person's eyes are looking at me, then I'm the object. So 나를. But this is a contraction. We want it to be a little shorter. So instead of being 나를, it becomes 날. We're dropping half of that particle and just leaving the first half. And the second word we have there, the orange one, is 바라보는. And that comes from the verb 바라보다, which means to look at something or gaze, and that subject marker that we talked about earlier, 는. And this is the adjective form of that. So, in Korean, all adjectives are verbs. So, we're taking this verb, putting it into the adjective form by adding 는. So, it's 바라보는. We drop the da from the verb and add 는. Alright, the next word, the green one, 눈, means eye. And the next word, the blue one, 속, means inside. Literally translating this sentence, I would translate it as inside the eyes that look at me. Milky Way. But the person who translated this song, they translated it as your eyes that look into mine are the Milky Way. And they're taking a lot of liberties here, and they're adding in some extra words. They're implying some extra things that are not actually in here. They just changed the sentence to make it sound more poetic, in my opinion. Because 날 바라보는 is an adjective that's saying that looks at me. 눈 means eye. So, if you put that together, 날 바라보는 눈, the eye that looks at me, and 속 means inside. So, That's why I'm translating it as inside the eyes that look at me, Milky Way. Again, there's no verb here that means to be. We're just kind of adding the verb here into our sentence to make it make sense. Inside the eyes that look at me are the Milky Way. We added that verb there to make the sentence make sense. All right, let's go to the next one. We have O negero wa mangsorijima. The first word, the red one, O, it's really easy. It's just O. And the next word, the orange one, is negero, which is a contraction of a word and a particle. The first word is na, which we already mentioned means me. That's the informal word for me. And then we have this particle, egero, which means toward. So the actual word would be naegero, naegero. But in Korean, we like to make things shorter, don't we? So instead of being naegero, it's just negero, or making it a little bit shorter and easier to say. So negero means toward me. And our third word, the green word, is wa, which comes from oda, which means to come. If we want to make something a command, we just say it in the informal present tense, wa. So that could mean I come, you come, we come, or it could be a command to say come, like come here. So the green word wa is the informal conjugation of oda, which means to come, and it's a command. And then our last word, the blue word, mangsorijima, which comes from the verb mangsorida, which means to hesitate. And then we have this fun jima at the end. If we use that conjugation, it's the informal way of telling someone not to do something. So don't hesitate. Mangsorijima. Don't do it. Hajima. Don't look. Pojima. So don't do it. So we have o and negero, which means to me, wa, which means come, mangsorijima, don't hesitate. So literally translating it would be, oh, come toward me, don't hesitate. But come toward me doesn't really make much sense, does it? So we're translating it as come to me, don't hesitate. That was an easy one, right? And the next one we have, the red word is none, and that comes from no, which means you. It's the informal word for you. And we have that topic marking particle that we've talked about so many times, nun. But you know we like to make things shorter in Korean, so instead of being 너는, it's none. It's just easier to say. The next word, the orange word, is 매혹적인, which comes from 매혹적이다, which means alluring or captivating. But this is the adjective form of this verb, so we add that little sound. So 매혹적인. We drop the da, add the sound. 매혹적인 makes it an adjective. And then the next word, the green one, is 나의, which comes from na, which means me, and 에. There's a few ways you can pronounce this particle, like 의 is how it's spelled, but most people pronounce it like 에, like 나의. Alright, and when we add that fun little particle, it makes it possessive. It makes someone own something. So 나의 universe means my universe. 너의 universe would be your universe. Alright, so we have 넌, you, 매혹적인, alluring, 나의, my, universe. So we're translating this as you're my alluring universe. And the last sentence is 내 우주는 전부 너야. The first word, the red one, 내. That's actually that word that we mentioned before, 나의. But we like to make things shorter in Korean, don't we? So instead of saying 나의, they just shorten it to 내. It's much easier to say. So 내 and 나의 mean the same thing. So the orange word, the next one, 우주는, comes from 우주, which means universe, and 는, that fun subject marker that we've been talking about so much. And then the green word, 전부, which means all, and the blue word, 너야. 너 means you, and ya is the informal conjugation of 이다, which means to be. So if you want to say it's you, 너야. It's me, 나야. And remember, this is all informal, so don't say this to your teacher. All right. So, 내, which means mine. 우주는, universe. 전부, all. 너야, it's you. So we're translating this as my entire universe is you. And I know you must be thinking, okay, Jessica, I don't see the word entire in these translations. The green word 전부, it means all, but we're using it as entire for this sense. Because saying my all universe doesn't really make sense, does it? So, my entire universe is you. Alright, now that we've gone through each word individually, let's listen to the chorus one more time to see if it makes more sense. Are you starting to understand it? Hopefully you are. Thank you for listening today, everyone, and please leave me a comment below letting me know which song I should decode next. 안녕히 계세요.